Hello everybody, welcome to Kubie Does It. I'm Kubie and I hope everybody's having a great day. So today we are going to talk about the most hated tools on the internet. So I scoured various web boards, looked through reviews to find the worst items, or at least the things that people say are the worst tool items out there, and I bought all of them. It took me a while. I had to search around, and a lot of these still aren't being made anymore, so I had to search around and find them used, but fortunately I was able to find all of them. Now I picked up about 15 items in total. I'll do this over probably 3 videos, so we'll start with the item that I've been looking forward to the most. It took over a month to get this. I had to find it on eBay. It's no longer made. I've got it hidden here because I didn't, and you're going to wonder why there's a 4x4, but you're about to find out. So what we have is the Auto Hammer. So this is one of those as seen on TV items. This one isn't brand new, but it's still in the original box. I'm excited to see it. I have not opened this intentionally because I wanted to for us to do this together. I don't have very high hopes about this tool. Heard a lot of bad things about it. It doesn't spit out the nails like it's supposed to. It doesn't drive the nails like it's supposed to. It catches whenever you release the nail, and just in general hatred for this thing. So I'm anxious to see how it actually comes out. So let's open this thing up. Well, somebody's opened it before for sure, so it's in a little rough condition there, the paperwork is, or the paper is. Hey, look at that. Got a whole bag of nails. Here's the hammer. Now I've got to tell you that the hammer does not feel as flimsy. I figured since it had a plastic handle that it was going to feel really flimsy. It's actually pretty sturdy. It's not flexible in any way. The hammerhead, it isn't a framing hammer, let's put it that way, but it is, it's got a normal hammerhead on it, and we'll see if this thing works. So I got a bag of nails, and I've got some crumpled up instructions. Let's see, load nails, bottom end cap, place the hammer vertical position, load nails head first, and then always hold hammer at a 45-degree angle, holding to press and release the button with your thumb. One nail will automatically drop down the handle. Setting hammer. All right, good enough. I think I can figure it out from there. Well, the nails are open. So let's grab a handful of nails and I'll add them to the ones that are already in there, and I'm going to assume somebody put them in correctly, or in there correctly. It says you have to put the heads facing down, so let's get all the heads put in the right condition or position. They are. Let's see how you open this thing. Look at that. All right, heads down. All right. Now, it says you hold this thing at a 45-degree angle. Check that out. If you could see that, the nail did come out and it did stick. So far so good. So let's see how it does with a nail. Uh-oh, there it goes. It worked. Look at that. All right, let's try it again. I got to tell you, I didn't expect that to work as well as it does. Uh-oh, that one didn't work so well. Uh-oh, did not work so well. Well, all right, let me try standing up. So I've got a shoulder injury, and I am heavily medicated to keep the pain from hurting, so I don't have the greatest mobility right now with my shoulder, but let's see if we can make this thing work. There we go. That time it went in, well, at an angle, but it's not coming apart. Oh, and that's jammed up inside. All right, so not having the best of luck here. There we go. I got that to release. I'm gonna throw this nail over here. Let's try a new one. Look at that. Well, I will say that part works pretty well. It does release it. All right. Let's try this again. All right. I'm starting to see why people hate this thing so much. There is kind of a little bit of a fun factor with it when you first play with it because, well, it's getting less and less fun with each hammer strike. That time it went in, but then it doesn't want to release. That time it did release. So, well, we'll call that Kubie error that time. But we got it in there. All right, one more. And then I'm going to tell you exactly what I think of this. That time it worked. Look at that. Look at that. So there is a bit of a fun factor with this. It's not bad. It does release the nails like it's supposed to. The problem is getting the nail to go in is the weak point. You get it started, and then it wants to hang on the hammer itself. And well, I had it working. There we go. See, it doesn't want to go in. And then when you do get it, there it goes. So, does it work? Yes. Does it work well? Hell no. Is it something I would want to own and play with? Well, I guess I already do own it, and I guess I am playing with it right now. But would I want to use it? No. I don't think I'd wish this on my worst enemy unless they just want something to play with as a gag gift or something to, just have a little bit of amusement for a while. But the amusement is gone very quickly. Another issue that I see with this are the nails. It says here that you can use a 2-inch or an 1.5-inch nail, maximum, minimum. The problem is the nails are, they have a head on them, but they have a very small head on them. And they're almost like a finish nail. They're just a little bit bigger than a finish nail, a large finish nail. But they have this tiny head on them. And those nails are not very useful. You might be able to put some T111 siding on your storage shed, but good Lord, if you use this thing to do it, it's going to take you a week. If you know, other than that, I'm not sure what you would use it for. Maybe build a birdhouse or something. One of the things they did show on the infomercial for this was a lot of drywall, a lot of hammering into drywall, and it's really poorly done. A couple of times they hit it, and at least one of the times they hit it, and it just went straight into the drywall. And I think the problem with this is the way it doesn't want to release. It's gonna, if you were to put it into drywall, it's just gonna pull the nail right back out because there's no friction for it to release because this thing does not release smoothly. Second thing they did, they had what looked like a joist hanger or some type of a hanger. And I will say the guy who used the hammer, he was able to get the nail just dead center in that hole. But then he goes in and he hammers it into the hole. And I don't know why anybody didn't catch it, but you could see the nail head go all the way through the hole in the rafter hanger. So it never even caught. The nail was too small. It just went right through. So this thing, I can completely understand why it is one of the most hated tools because this thing is horrible. It sucks. All right, so we'll move to the next item. And I'm going to pop away from here for a second, but you won't miss me because I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. So the next tool on the list is one that I have to admit I'm a little bit apprehensive to use. It is called the Roto stripper. It is a steel wheel that mounts onto your drill, and it has these fingers, these metal tines, if you will, that spin, and they will strip, hopefully paint from this receiver bar, but they strip wood, they paint off of wood, rust off of metal, paint off of metal, just about anything. Rust corrosion from wood, metal, fiberglass, concrete, stone, completely safe to use, faster, cleaner, easier than any other method. This thing is scary to me, and one of the reasons why is, can you see this? They took a whole side of the box for a warning disclaimer. Now, the part of the warning that really makes me nervous, it said pins may break and fly off during use. Wear safety goggles, face shield, and protective clothing. And one of the reviews on this said that, I haven't opened this one yet, by the way. One of the reviews on this said that it was made by Satan, and it said lawsuit. And I've read multiple reviews where folks had used this, and some of the fingers, the tines had broken off. So even on this thing, it says safety warning. I thought, okay, yeah, safety warning. Pins may break and fly off during use. That's reassuring. And then it says, wear safety goggles, face shield, and protective clothing. Well, I don't know if this long sleeve shirt is protective enough for this, but we'll throw this on the drill. And no, I am not going to use my cordless or corded drill for this. This thing says that it has, I think it says on the back it's between 1800 RPM and 1600 RPM and 2500 RPM. My cordless drill here does 2000 RPM, or it's rated for 2000 RPM. So I will call that good enough. I am not sticking this on a corded drill for it to fly at a high rate of speed and break these off into, or bend these into a million pieces, because these things, I could only imagine one of these flying off, get caught in my face or my hand, which I'm wearing gloves. I've always been taught that when you're drilling or using something that spins, don't wear gloves. But in the case of this thing, I'm wearing gloves. You can flag me all you want and tell me I'm crazy, but if one of these pins comes off or bends, I want it to take this glove at least partially before it rips my skin. And then this is the closest thing to a face shield I have. I don't have, other than my welding face shield, which I'm not going to use that because, well, I wouldn't be able to see. So we'll try this thing and see if it works. My guess is it probably works, but the scary factor and the danger factor is probably not going to overrun it. It is, normal forward. Ow, something just hit me. It does work. Check it out. It does work. No doubt about it. It works. But I'll tell you what. I don't know if I'd want to use that on wood. I would think on wood it might tear the wood up. After using it, do I feel like it's nearly as dangerous as everyone made it sound to be? No. But I can tell you, this thing is not the sturdiest built. Even at that, at 2000 RPM, I wouldn't want, you've already got some pins here that seem like, I don't guess they're bent, but they just don't look good. It may be my paranoia kicking in, but I don't like this thing. I don't feel safe using this thing. Maybe with a cordless drill, I feel more safe than I would with a corded drill running at high speed. My guess is some of the folks that have used this and had the tines fly off, we're using it with a corded drill, probably running it at high speed, or higher speed than what I am. But nope, I'll pass on this thing. Anything that has that many safety warnings. But I love how it says completely safe to use, but then goes into the warnings and says pins may break and fly off during use. Yeah, that's not reassuring. One of the reviews mentioned that they were using it to clean some concrete, and they kept hearing the sounds of what they thought were the tines hitting the concrete, making beautiful noises like a bell. And it turned out when they turned it off that it was missing a few of these pins, and what they were hearing were those things flying off. So I'm not using it around any other people. I wouldn't use it in my garage around my cars. Yeah, thankfully I've got my truck pulled out. My wife's car's there, but it's far enough away. It's not going to hurt anything. My motorcycle's over there. I guess I could have worried about it. But no, I'll pass on this thing. I will pass on it. So we'll move to the next item. I'm going to pop away so that I can get everything and get it set up, and I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back with the multi-wrench. So these wrenches are intended to be kind of a one-size-fits-all type deal. Well, multiple sizes fit most type deal. They were advertised as, you know, heavy duty. Even says on there, heavy duty. I don't know if you can read that, but it says heavy duty, and I can tell you, these things are not heavy duty. If you can hear that, yeah, they're not heavy duty. Matter of fact, I am pretty sure this one, I could bend it by hand, and probably, I don't know if I could bend it in half, do an Incredible Hulk on it, but especially with my shoulder, but I could definitely bend it. I've got some lag bolts that I've screwed into a 2x4. The thing that bothers me about these is they are not sturdy. They also have these pins in them that I foresee breaking or at least popping out. Usually these type of things happen at the least opportune time. And then it only has this really thin piece of metal that serves to hold the bolt in place in order to get a good grip on it. Now, I don't know what size I would use, which side. There we go, we could use it on that. So to loosen it, you know, it works like a typical wrench would. I'm sitting here looking at this thinking, you know, it'll probably fit okay in decent spaces. It's not gonna, you know, tight spaces aren't gonna be too bad for it. But does it work? Yeah, it works. I'm sitting here looking at it now. The bolt, it just slipped to the bottom of the bolt. Of course, that's the head at least. That's, you know, nothing out of the ordinary. With a wrench, you're gonna have a similar thing. But in this case, the wrench portion of it, this upper portion of it is up, and it feels as though it's there, but at the bottom, it's not. It wants to slip underneath the head of the bolt. And I tell you what this seems to me to be, other than being just extraordinarily flimsy, the way it's designed, you're gonna round bolts with this thing. There is no way around it. I can already see some of the edges on this. I don't think I'm rounding it from that little bit of use, but you can see where it's been rubbed. I think the biggest thing out of this is busting your knuckles, because I can see this sucker slipping off, especially as thin as this part here is. That's all that you've got grabbing that head of the bolt. I see it slipping, and I see major knuckle bashing, and that does not appeal to me. So just for that reason, I'm going to agree. You know, me and 1,000 other people out there who have said bad things about it can't be wrong. So I'm going to have to agree that these are crappy. Will they work in a pinch? Yes, but you better be careful. Are they going to work for heavy, tight bolts that you may have trouble getting off? Probably not. They're going to round them over. I guarantee you they're going to round them over. This thing feels just so cheap and flimsy. It's amazing. I'm tempted to try to bend it. Yeah, I can feel it giving a little bit. Yep, I bent it, as you can see. I don't know if you can see that, but you shouldn't be able to bend a wrench that easily. Hey, anybody want a bent wrench? I'll sell it really cheap. Kidding. Yeah, these are pretty crappy. Don't spend your money on them. Good news is if I can bend it one way, I can bend it back. Most of the way back. All right, let me go get the next item. The next item on the list is one of the most hated items that I have found on the internet. The Bionic wrench. This was originally marketed by Sears. I'm assuming that this loggerhead company either was the original inventor and they were licensing it to Sears, and then when Sears went under, they just let it go, or that they bought it from Sears. But it says this was a popular mechanics editor's choice. This one has been opened, although it's in its new packaging. This one I have opened up and looked at because I read so many stories about this thing being so bad, so awful. Some of the reviews were really bad. This one you can still buy new. I bought this one new off of Amazon. It is a very unique tool, and the way it works is it's laminated. So you have two outer pieces and two inner pieces, and when you squeeze it together, there's a mechanism that pushes these teeth or pins out well, they go out, but they're going inward towards the center. And in theory, they grab the bolt, and they work essentially like a pair of pliers, except they grab the flat surfaces of the bolt, and you do not have to worry about rounding your bolt heads. Unfortunately, from the reviews, the mechanism that pushes these pins, and they're very I don't know if you can hear them. They're very loose within the wrench, and what happens in a lot of cases, they say that they weaken. The more you use it, the weaker the teeth and the mechanism get, and they don't push in, and they don't stay pushed in as well. And another of the issues, and this is an issue I can see very well, is the tool is just not useful because it's so big and clunky and bulky that you have to be able to get it onto a nut or a bolt. And there's not too many places you can fit this size of a tool, especially if you're working on a car or a motorcycle, or maybe a bicycle on one of the wheels on the nut that holds the wheel on. And I think in the commercial, that's what they use this on. But I don't see very many uses. And a big complaint is that on something really, really tight, that no matter how hard you squeeze, it won't loosen the bolt, that the teeth lose their power to hold, that it takes a lot of torque to do it. And I'll be perfectly frank, as I'm sitting here doing this, and these are smaller bolts, but I'm squeezing this thing pretty hard to get it to hold. It wants to turn off. It wants to slip away. So I could see very easily if you're doing this and you've got something that really needs a lot of torque, that you're gonna round these off. This one's getting to the edge of the wood to where it's getting hard to grab, but it's also, the harder I try to turn it, the harder I have to squeeze it. And you saw it just pop off there. This is just the theory sounds good, but the idea, the execution was very poor with this tool. So I would discourage you from buying the Bionic wrench, although it'll work if depending on what you have. If you need something that will be a universal wrench, and you've got fasteners that are in locations that you could fit this big behemoth and they're not super tight, you could probably use this for a while until it breaks. And according to most of the people who bought this, it will break. So buyer beware, buy it at your own risk. I have one more. I'm going to go get it, be right back. So before I get started on this last item, you all noticed earlier that I had a bar for a receiver. I actually got that to do a test on some drill bits. So I've got a whole series of drill bits that I've purchased. I want to do a torture test on some drill bits to see which ones are good, which ones are bad. I'm trying the infamous Warrior bits from Harbor Freight. They were kind of the inspiration for this. I got a whole bunch on my tools not to buy from Harbor Freight. I got a lot of comments from people who said that they loved those and they were the greatest ever and they worked every bit as good as anything else, and you just have to use them right. So I bought a set of those. I bought, I think, about 5 or 6 sets of other bits, from higher end bits to middle of the road to more low end bits. So we'll try those out in a very upcoming video very soon. And we'll get you can watch that and tell me what you think. So this is the Craftsman Quick Wrench. Hey, the good thing about them is they're extended reach up to 30% longer. That's about the only good thing I can say about them, because I have had a set of these. Although I've found these online and people hated them universally. I had a set of these. I don't know if I bought them. I think I did. But I have since gotten rid of them or lost them or given them away, something, because I don't have them anymore, thank God. These things just did not work. So these, the way they operate is they have, I don't know if you can see this, there's a little bit of a cutout right here. And essentially, it's supposed to give you a ratcheting action. They only work one direction. If you want to go in reverse, you got to flip them to reverse. But the whole theory behind them is you don't have to take the open-end wrench off the fastener. You tighten it, and then it just goes back like a ratcheting motion, in theory. The only part of this that works is the boxed-in part of the wrench. It works really well because it's a typical boxed-in wrench. But I can tell you that the other part does not. So you put it on your, and these are 1/2 inch. If you push it in, so what you've got to do is you've got to push it up into the fastener once you get it on. It'll work. It'll tighten. And then if you're real slow and easy about it, it'll ratchet back. And then if you push it back in, it will. But what happens is if you don't, it's an unnatural thing to do these. They want to catch when you go back with them. It wants to slip, and if you notice, it keeps catching on me. What you end up doing is you just put it in. It won't work in reverse that way. You spend more time fiddling with it than you do. It has such a, even when it does work, just to get a partial turn, you've got to go so far back with it. It doesn't, if you're in a tight spot, you're not going to make it work. It's not like a socket. Now, you notice I'm holding it with my other hand because my instinct tells me that's the only way I'm going to keep it on the bolt. If you hold it on the end, yeah, it'll probably work for you because you're going to automatically pull it back. I'm pulling it back. But if you're trying to do it like this, it's going to come off. It's going to catch, and it's going to slip. Does it work? In theory, it does. But execution-wise, it's very clunky, awkward, and just don't like it. And the worst part of it is, the best part of it is, this is before Craftsman outsourced outside the U.S., so this is made in the USA, so that should give it some extra points. If you're more talented than I am, or if you use a wrench all day long, the same one over and over again, you might pick up the habit of using this properly and to where it feels natural. But this does not feel natural, and it's the way it slips. It's just, again, it feels like a knuckle buster. Not my favorite tool. A lot of other people agree with me; they don't like it. So I'd say avoid this one. Don't like it. Other than the fact it's made in the USA, I might have to keep it just because it's made in the USA. I have a whole bunch of Craftsman tools. Most of them are made in the USA. I bought them. I've been buying tools since I was very young. So it's nice to still see that made in the USA on something in its original packaging even. But they haven't made these in quite some time, and that's for a reason. So this is what I have for you today. I'm going to ask that you please hit the like button. It helps the algorithm to bring more folks my direction. And also subscribe, please. And join me on this adventure. I've been making videos now for a little while, and I don't know how many I've made, maybe 20, somewhere around in there. And I've been very fortunate because a lot of folks have subscribed. And I do have a lot of folks that watch my videos, and I appreciate it very much. Put some comments in the section. Let me know what you think of these tools. If there's anything that I haven't touched on, remember I've still got about 10 more items that I'm going to do videos on. I'll do 2 more of these videos and touch on these items. I got some real doozies, and it should be interesting. If you noticed, I'm not behind my green tool chest today. I tried to do a video on the opposite side of my garage. Tell me what you think of this. You like this better? You like it worse? You want me to go back to the green toolbox? I'm staring at the green toolboxes. But let me know what you think. And as always, God bless. Thank you for watching, and have an awesome day.